Now, we've also got the Rift Rivals competition coming up. We're going to be judging that in the second half of tonight's show. You, though, Brandon, you've made an example sign to show off, for the people to give some inspiration.
So we've got the Rift Rivals award ceremony, which I did mess up. Wait, here we go. So I messed up the number 2 here, so don't worry about that. But here's the Oceania on top, and we have Order watching from the distance, having some tears dropping down, and the beautiful crowd.
The crowd.
What do you think about that?
If Order keeps playing this way, they're not even going to get to watch from the distance.
They came fourth. They don't get to go to Rift Rivals.
Mate,
they just lost.
They just lost to Tectonic. They might have to be scrimming whilst Rift Rivals is on, begging Southeast Asian teams for scrims. However, we are about to get into Game 2, I assume. Are we done with the other people? Yes. The ear in my voice has said, we're going to Champion Select right now. Yeah, all right. Stick with us, guys. We have more League of Legends. It was Tectonic picking up a very clean game 1. Now onto the blue side. See whether they can replicate that. Order really need to bounce back, Bristle. And you've been on a team with a couple of these people. They are not unprone to tilt.
Not unprone to tilt. Yeah. Yes. That's a very succinct way to put it here. Spooks looking incredibly serious now. Of course, week 1. Didn't pick up a win. Starting this series, 0-1, Tectonic firmly in the lead, having that momentum, which is something they haven't had for a very long time. So all of a sudden, on the blue side, a little bit more freedom. First pick options are available. Order going to respect that with the Atelier ban.
And last time Tectonic played Order, if you think back to the TikTok Shock on Urgot, Order struggled.
Yep.
Shock had like 6 kills. It was like terrifying people with whatever the heck that thing is that shoots out of his stomach, and Order had no idea what was happening, and that game looked like an exact replica where Order had no idea what was happening.
And that was the thing. That was a cheese pick that came out of nowhere, and people were banning Urgot against Tectonic for weeks. This was Order playing the 8.11 Vladimir bot Lulu mid meta, and this was a very standard game from Tectonic with a substitute. And that still looked incredibly good.
Yeah, it certainly did. Gunkrab having a great performance. Once again, just showing that the depth of talent in Oceania is not as shallow as people would have me believe. Been watching a lot of OCS, and there are players that are really starting to rise to the occasion, Bryce. We've got more bands coming through. Zoe, Camille, Nocturne, as well as Ornn. And that's going to be an Aatrox hover, and it isn't a troll.
It is not. All of a sudden, Aatrox is actually a very good pick in the current meta. Do they lock it in? About 3 seconds left. Gunkrab having a bit to say about that one. And no, going to be the Lulu. Mega Flex can be played almost anywhere. 3 to 4 rolls here is
it could be played every 5 rolls.
Jungle Lulu? Oh, I mean, that is true. We have this 8.11 jungler, not really a jungler. I'm actually just a hold mid lane for my mid laner who's a jungler.
Yeah, I'm a level 3 support jungler.
Gold funneling. It's incredibly prevalent despite not having a very high win rate in competitive, but...
Once again, Order go back to the Vladimir. I feel like this is a pick that they are holding in very high regard and has not seen success for them.
So another pick, about 15 seconds left on that one. I do want to see if they go back to a standard traditional AD carry. Checking Twitter in between the 2 games. Fantix, great mind for the game, was saying FBI is a very good Vladimir player, but he's a much better marksman. And if you want to play around FBI, potentially just go back to comfort, go back to basics. But that's a Taric lock-in, that's a Vladimir. I don't think they are.
Yeah, potentially not. Potentially dropping the Yi ban made them scared that it could be a Taric Yi combo coming out of Sybil and Shock. Don't know whether they've been playing it, but has certainly seen a lot of bans in the LCK, which is very funny.
I feel like that would be unlikely. I feel like Tectonic, what they showed us in Game 1 is give Sybil something that you can play very aggressive on early. I don't think Shock and Sybil lend themselves to a very strong Taric Yi sort of playstyle where you have to play out the early game very slow. Side lanes have to be very disciplined in how they play to allow Sybil to farm up absolutely everything. And as we see, he's just going to go back to the old faithful in Skarner.
Yeah, certainly is, but that's not something that can be aggressive early. Skarner, notoriously bad 1 through 5. Farms very quickly, but does not skirmish all that well. We saw a couple of plays out of Babip, I think, actually, that were very nice in the early game, but I think those are few and far between, and that's going to just be a Cho'Gath locked in.
All of a sudden, Order have a few questions to answer here. If they want to go for the Taric Yi, they're going to have to lock it in now, otherwise it will get banned, but... do they have to pick a counter pick for Tally on the top side? Something that can punish Paprise on a Cho'Gath? I don't know. You tell me, man.
No, that's a genuine question. Like, who would you expect to play here? You're the color caster. Don't deflect.
There's a very good reason I did deflect. But You could have a few. I mean, I wouldn't Order wouldn't strike me as a team that wouldn't be willing to swap around roles. Spooks has been a jungler for an incredibly long time. He's played a lot of Yi in his time, but I could see Swiffer picking it up. FBI even, they could do some nutty things.
See, I was hoping you were gonna say, remember that time that Tally played G against Chiefs?
Oh, that is true.
In the top lane.
Yep.
Potentially Tally is the E player,
That could
if
be
there
true.
is one. But it's going to be double
Be
support
anything.
already picked up, so we know it's going to be a lot more of the 8.11 patch. So Order bucking the trend.
And there's a lot of different champions we've seen with this. Yi, Taric is the big combo. You have things like Graves. You expect those two to get banned away by Tectonic, though, because those are very broadcast. Nocturne banned away as well. Talia, high-pressure jungler. Interesting to see what they do pull out here.
And they're still holding flexes, because even though they've got a jungler and a top lane on the side of Tectonic, Lulu can still go AD carry, can still go support, can still go mid. On the side of Order, you don't know whether it's really going to be the Taric. You assume Taric mid lane, Alistair support.
Yep.
But you don't know whether that's a Vladimir top lane, mid lane, or AD carry. I would assume not mid lane, because it doesn't strike me as a best jungling duo-ish.
Absolutely, 100% agree. I feel like Taric is almost certainly locked in, about a 95% chance. Vladimir, as you mentioned, can go top mid, and that is a Tristana.
With Smite. I'm just going to
With
point
the
that out.
Smite. So it might not just be a Taric mid with an Alistar Tristana in the bottom lane. Of course, bottom lane has yet to be picked up by Tectonic. We spent a lot of time looking at Order, but Lulu, flex pick still is available, can go mid. We saw it last game in the hands of Swiffer. When you pair it with something like a Coldmore in the bottom lane, can be very potent. But this is a completely different style of composition if they lock this one. Even with something like a Kai'Sa, this is an AD carry that wants to get to Ginsu's, wants to, if he goes AP, go for Nash's decap, wants to go Runar's if he goes AD, and then scale up towards the late game, a huge hyper carry threat. If they lock in something like the Morgana, you expect that to go in the support position. Suddenly you have Whimsy from Lulu in the mid lane to buff him up. You have the spell shield available.
Could go mid lane. I actually don't mind mid lane Morgana because it just has good wave push, especially on cannon creep waves where you can drop the pull on the cannon creep, drop another pull on the front of the wave, burns it down nice and quickly. Lulu also has good wave clear, but Tristana, Morgana. Why am I saying Tristana? Morgana disengages from ganks very well.
Lulu has to put on the fancy feet. Hit yourself with the W and zoom around all the skill shots. Urgot is going to be the hover here. Now onto something like the Mundo would be much more standard. This is going to be super weird. So you have Vladimir Tristana. Mundo you think is going to go into the top lane. Ali is on Rogue.
Rogue is on Ali?
Rogue is on Ali. Ali is being piloted by Rogue. So a pretty standard composition coming out from Tectonic. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen with Order yet. 40 seconds is still available, but that is still a smite for FBI.
I'm scared.
You scared?
Yeah.
Why are you scared?
Because I feel like when your back's against the wall and a team plays a fairly standard comp, and you have beaten them historically, you should play fairly standard. That is what the color caster within me says. Bryce.
Because that train of thought is that this composition from Tectonic will scale incredibly well. And in a traditional way.
Hyper carry with 2 support.
Whereas Order, they have a Smite AD carry. I'm going to call him an AD carry. But this is Spooks on the Taric, Swiffer on Vladimir. We've seen role swaps between players. This is definitely going to be one of them. This is super weird.
I watch my team scrim and I don't know what's going to happen, Bryce.
I assume Taric's going to be helping FBI because he's the one with Smite, farm up the camps. Maybe Swiffer going in the bottom lane. Vladimir, Ali is a pretty interesting 2v2.
But I will say, all jokes aside, the one thing we've seen about this meta is if it falls down early, and this is even internationally, you don't come back. You're in a hole, and you just don't come back. And we've seen crazy things like Jana Karma picked this morning, and it fell behind, and it just never came back.
It's about invading the camps, because Taric, if he's going to go for this gold funneling strategy, he's not going to be very strong as an individual threat. But you look at Tectonic, you're like Skarner. We talked about 1 to 5, not that strong. Lulu, not very good in early skirmishes, wants to have a few levels there. So it's really a whole team coordinated effort, because if this strategy fails early from Order, then all of a sudden, as you mentioned, can get put so far behind. Tectonic have to invest so many resources to shut that down.
And you can see already the 5-man stack onto Summoner's Rift by Tectonic. We are joined by Coach Cyclone. Get to him in 1 second, because all right, cool. Looks like he's out. Cyclone, welcome to the desk.
Hey, how's it going?
Congratulations on game number 1. That must have felt good.
Yeah, it feels really good. Must have felt bad for you.
I'm all right. I'm just casting, dude. I don't know what you're talking about. So talk to me about this young group that you've now got together. You're still playing with a substitute AD carry.
Yeah.
What's the difference between split 1 and split 2, and how high do you think this team can now climb?
Well, the main difference, I guess, is we've changed three players. You know, we've got Sybil coming in, and he's brought a lot of experience, and we've got Trance as well, who's come over from NA, and it's amazing having him on the team. It's like having a coach on stage, so I can just leave and he keeps talking, and it's brilliant. Gunkcrab is doing a fantastic job, but as you mentioned, he is our substitute. I believe this is his OPL debut, but I could be wrong.
No, it is.
And yeah, he's been really fantastic considering, you know, what we're asking him to do, come into a team he's hardly scrimmed with at all. And the overall goal is playoffs and preferably higher, you know. I think based on how quickly we've been learning the last couple of weeks.
And now taking a step forward into the game we're currently in the draft phase when Tristana was locked in, did you expect anything like this? Because this is a pretty weird composition we see out of Order.
No, we didn't call with Tristana at all. We thought the Vlad was going to be in one of the side lanes, which he is. But then,
That's a check.
Yeah, but then we saw the Tristana, we assumed it was going to be going bot,
Yep.
and that it was going to be Vlad mid. But they obviously really don't like the Lulu matchup, which is understandable. Yeah, so they just threw us for a loop when they locked in Tarek, and we were like, oh well, they're probably going for some kind of slave jungle synergy thing. So we just started getting rid of them.
Slave jungle. That's a new. That's one way to look at it. I like that.
That's what they've been calling it. So I've adopted it.
And I like it in the mid lane. We just saw Shock actually pull the wave, so a little bit going on here. And that's what I was going to say. Shock has already played against a weird composition once. He pulled out the Xerath. This time around on the Lulu. This guy seems to be he has a champion Ocean. Is it nice having a mid laner that you can just say, play something that beats this, go?
Yeah, well, we're a little bit more specific than that. We think about like what the weaknesses of the strategy are, and we've kind of made a list of things that we think, or like methods we think will beat it. And yeah, I thought it was really cool to see how well that worked last week, actually. And so, you know, Lulu is really high priority for a lot of regions right now, and kind of does a lot of the same things as Xerath against this comp. So that's why we picked it early, as it helps mitigate the risk.
All right, well, congratulations on game 1. See whether you can bring it home in this game number 2. Thank you for joining us, and best of luck.
Cool, thank you.
We are already 3 minutes into the game here, as we saw during the interview. Actually, Combo's going to come out from Rogue, looking to get onto Trance.
Yeah, very nice bait out there. That's going to be big damage
Double
going
exhaust.
across. That's double exhaust. The healer's already popped. Rogue will take a turret shot. Swiffer, now one more auto will do it. Has to flash away. Guncrab does not follow.
But that is a positive trade for Tectonic. All of a sudden, Swiffer is the one that took a brunt of that damage. Trance is going to chug through potions. Vladimir has a lot of sustain, but in terms of in the bottom lane, the golden rule, go onto the AD carry, not the support.
And you can see right now they actually got positioning on top side of Summoner's Rift. And Tally is in huge danger of being dove with 3 members up there. Will not be the case, however.
They do back it away. Tarek and Tristana. Means 2 champions in the mid lane will shove that in quicker than 1. So Shock has to race back to the mid lane. And FBI, once again, in this composition from Order, is the member we have to speak about. Spooks, literally 0 CS. So Slave Jungler is exactly what he is right now.
Let's call it gold funneling.
Gold funneling, Slave Jungler, Spooks. Got himself an ancient coin.
Junglers are people too, they have rights.
They are. Spooks is, he's struggling here, but just wants to get the farm onto FBI. So if FBI stays ahead of the curve, all of a sudden he goes back, he picked himself up that skirmishes, so got to do a whole bunch of damage. But we saw what faltered for AB when they ran this strategy was side lanes were very volatile. Pabu was constantly trading kills left and right in the top lane, and this means the Order lineup in the bot lane, in the top lane, need to play very disciplined so they can play solely around FBI and Spooks.
Completely agree, and you know, Vladimir in this composition adds some threat, but also adds a big damage amp. Swiffer without summoner spells needs to be very careful here. Sybil visiting the bottom lane for the first time.
Sybil will be spotted out by a ward, so Order do just back away. And at a very basic level, items are multiplicative, right? Like, you stack up some crit, all of a sudden IE gives you the double bonuses. You scale incredibly well. That's why gold funneling onto a single carry makes sense. If you can afford to get through the early game, you can sacrifice someone like a Tarek. FBI can 1v5 once you get to a certain point. So it's all about investing resources early into shutting that down. Tectonic have gone for a different strategy here than we've seen. This is a very new strategy from Order, so potentially another way to deal with it, but Sybil has looked at both side lanes. He looked for something, bot was on a ward, didn't find it. He went top, potentially threatening a dive, recalled instead, but hasn't really tried to even visit the mid lane at all.
And the big thing is that FBI is still going to have to get to 3 items.
Yep.
Even with the gold efficiency of jungle items, Tristana still needs more than 1 or 2 items to be relevant in a game. So with this in mind, the slow early game isn't necessarily a bad thing for Tectonic. They can afford to get Sybil to level 6. They can afford to get the guaranteed gank on the Mundo through the suppression, through the eat of Cho'Gath. So I think that this game isn't on all that much of a clock, as once again, Tally has been caught out, will get knocked up, will get eaten potentially in 1 second, and this is once again potentially going to be a solo kill. No!
Beast not available. Papyrus had used it on the minion, so unfortunately, no way he's going to kill him, but Tally, in a whole world of hurt there, has to back away once again. Papyrus in the 1v1, playing incredibly well.
Yeah, it certainly is. However, did burn the teleport to get back to base. Had now used half of his health, all of his potions, so we'll just have to push this one in, see whether he goes for another tempo recall on the back end.
Sybil is now invading though. And Order, they don't have vision of him. FBI did just jump over onto the Wraith camp, so Spooks and FBI clearing away their own camp, but little do they know Sybil just taking away the red buff under their nose.
Well, now they do know. Ooh, 2 levels lower for Sybil as well. That is still a risky invade, because people forget that if Tristana jumps on you, it's a huge slow. She can buster shot you into walls and knock you around a lot. Just one of those ganks that you can go wrong. Not to mention, Taric Tristana, in terms of traditional bottom lane, can be played very aggressively because she can close a huge gap with that rocket jump. Taric can stun even further, and all of a sudden the Tristana becomes the form of CC. And then obviously with the Taric, once you get to level 6, hit him with that invulnerability, she can do what she wants. But I do like what we're seeing here from Tectonic. They're still 500 gold in the lead. They've got Sybil nearly towards that level 6 mark where he's going to become incredibly relevant. We're going to have to probably see QSS bought by both of the carries of Order and maybe even the Taric, to be honest. And he's getting gold starved at the moment. And that's the thing. Does he have gold to invest here? He's now sitting at only 1,600. His counterpart in Sybil, if you can really call him a counterpart, is 1,000 ahead, and FBI is obviously ahead of his. Has that CS advantage, picking up the jungle camps and the mid lane CS, but see how it continues to track throughout this game. If this sort of strategy, we talked about before, falls completely on its face if FBI ever messes up. If he gets to mid-game, or to have huge tempo control, they have a lead, and he just jumps into a team fight and gets one shot, he gets hooked up by Sybil on the Skarner, all of a sudden, or to have no leg left to stand on. So it's really going to be about the consistent performance from this AD carry of Order. And the thing that kind of fascinates me, Bryce, is that, and you would be able to speak volumes towards this, is when you play with the support, you build innate synergy. So you're not calling for abilities, they're just happening. You've spent so much time with them. And then I'm sure mid lane jungle is similar in that regard, where you know when ganks are coming, you know how to layer your spells. Well, Swiffer's playing with Rogue, who he hasn't played with all that much in a laning phase. And FBI is playing with Spooks, who I'm sure he also hasn't played all that much with. This must be strange. It must be strange. Hold that thought. Sybil might be in a bit of hurt here. Has been pulped up, will get knocked back, had already burnt it. Jumped in by FBI, drags him into the team, however. That's massive damage coming out. FBI jumps again, and that might be the one mistake. Has to flash away, and now big damage coming out. First blood picked up the Gun Crab. Swiffer's already used his ultimate. Nice knock up there, however. Spook's now going to fall down to Gun Crab as well, potentially. Yes, he is. Double kill. That binding lands onto Rogue. He has no ultimate. Will get stunned up. This is going to be another kill picked up. And once again, Order make that mistake and fall behind. This is literally worst case scenario for Order. 2 kills onto the Kai'Sa, who wants to be able to scale up. Has the Lulu, has the Morgana. FBI jumps in. We talked about it. It's the consistent performance. Overcommits there. All of a sudden, he falls down. He is the damage. He's the one ahead. If he doesn't stay ahead, and this falls completely flat in its face. And the big thing for me is that he jumped over his front line without a Taric ulti. Spooks is still level 5, whereas everyone else on the map had ulti, so you were fighting an ultimate down, which is so dangerous. And that's one of the break points with his gold funneling strategy. Sure, FBI's ahead, but level 6 so important for the Taric. And to go back to the conversation we were having, it's not just that first layer of Swiffers playing with Rogue and they don't play together often. These are 2 long-time duos. Knock up, does land, but ulti pops, so Pally is fine. Swiffer and Spooks have played together their entire careers. Rogue and FBI broke into the scene together and have been a long-standing duo, now on a new team. So they're new teammates, but individually those duos, breaking them up means even more for this Honor ladder. Yeah, it certainly does. Tally now continuing to trade with Paprise, finally in a positive nature. However, ultimate was used by Tally, and Paprise still has good sustain in his kit.
Yep, Sybil is on the top side of the map as well, and Impale coming up in just about 20 seconds. Pathing towards the bottom side, though, wants to go down and help out that Kai'Sa.
So we see this weird strategy continuing, but Order starting to fall very far behind again, 2,000 gold. And I think it was you telling me that, you know, these strategies in pro play just have got no success rate.
It's like less than 20% win rate. Sure, we see them all the time, and of course you remember them because they're brand new, but in terms of actually winning games, traditional AD carries, I think it's in the LCK or maybe the LPL, have something like a 60% win rate instead of these gold funneling strategies. So all of a sudden, standard play is being successful, and I think that speaks to something that bothers me about this patch, and that's because Spooks isn't a Taric player. Sure, he's been practicing for the last few weeks, but he's not a support. And so I think these sort of strategies are very new, and the players, when they play them,
one more time, they're going into the mid lane, and the Cho'Gath is already here. Spook's going to have to get the ultimate down. They try and push him away. Good buffer, as you mentioned. Jump will be used. Good stun there as well. Flash is there. Knock up as well as the feast. Nom 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 goes Paprise. They continue to chase in. Great binding out of Trance. Another 2 kills go down, and Order is in an insurmountable hole.
He's on 130 CS Tristana, 0-2 and 0. Lulu is only 30 behind, and Spooks is 70. This is a huge deficit for Order, and great synergy out of the solo lane is from Shock. He gets Paprise in, burns the flash, no CC available, hits him with that Lulu ult. It looked like Order potentially could have got out scot-free from that engagement. Unfortunately, that's another death on their only important member.
Yeah, it certainly is, and every single minute you're not up on Summoner's Rift, you're not farming, you're not getting further ahead, is a minute that this composition is falling behind in a hole. And just continue to stress that every time we see this comp, if it goes late, if they fall behind, it just does not work.
Doesn't even have a first real item. Of course, has the Devourer, has that jungle on Tristana, but really needs to be able to get there as we see this engage. Polymorph comes out early, Paprise first to the play. Tally is still in top wave farming, and this is a nice buffer by FBR. Uses the,
meanwhile, Swiffer in the bottom lane will get stunned up, will get taken down. Hands on head from the captain of Order.
And you can tell the frustration. Throwing his hands into the air immediately. Banner of Command actually picked up by Paprise, and this is something they did last week as well. It was against Arise, who had that dematerialize, and we're like, well, that's very interesting. They throw it mid to try and chew through these, but in a strategy where time is everything for this Taric-Tristana duo, they want to push out mid quickly, get priority, go farm camps. All of a sudden, where there's a Banner of Command in your lane, your push takes so long and you don't have as much time to farm 2 parts of the map. Sets you further behind. Yeah,
absolutely. You can see how many of the jungle camps are up and available. Yep. You want to have jungle camps continually on cooldown. If this is the way you're playing League of Legends, they have no control over top side, they have no control over bottom side, and they're 3,000 gold.
And all of a sudden, Rogue is grouping as well, so sharing not with one person, but with 2.
Tally in trouble as well. He's got Predated. He's going to have to run around in circles for a very long time. He's going to get stunned up now. He's going to get ulted and eaten in about half a second. There it is.
Gank potentially coming bot lane. Binding does land. That's the Black Shield onto Gunkrab. They have to go on Morg.
Very nice flash there. So they go on to Morgana. Do they use the ultimate? Are they going to jump in? Yes, they do. They will be able to pick up the shutdown, and the second kill will be there as well. Both of them go to FBI. So the first thing that goes right for Order all game long is there, but they're going to lose 2 turrets. That's why I'm laughing.
2 for 1 on the other side of the map. They're sure they get the kills, but he's already set behind, so that's going from a negative to now maybe a neutral. Spooks still completely gold-starred. Mobies and that side
Teleport coming really in bottom side, and already the collapse is here top side, so they're going to have to run out somewhere. Spooks misses the flash. That means Sybil can now potentially get out. He does have the hook as well, so he will just be able to scuttle away. And you can see that on the other side of the map, Shock is being slowed, will get flashed on. However, Cho'Gath heading down. They are going for it. Now potentially they will also spot out where the Cho'Gath is. No, they will not. So 2 turrets go down for 3 kills.
Very nice for Order to give all 3 kills to FBI. They really need to reclaim some sort of control for this Tristana. Potentially looking for an ability to siege to the mid lane right now. Spooks on the Taric, looking for a little bit of a flank, but no, just tracking back to mid lane. That's a 7,000 gold. Little pocket for the Tristana, but that's only 1.2 up on the Lulu.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's only 1,000-ish up on where Gunkrab is as well, and that's his direct opponent realistically.
Even less, and if you talk about this point in the game, 15 minutes, Gunkrab has that Ginsu's. He's obviously going for an AD build with the cauliflower hammer. Something like that. Caulfield's hammer. Yeah, that's the one. So potentially going for something like the Reaver there. but he's not as far ahead as you would like this strategy to be.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see one more time, Tally is being collapsed on. Trance goes over the wall. Tally runs back towards the wrong side of the map. Binding will not land, however, the ultimate is there. He's just dancing around in circles, has no flash, gets ultied up, and will eventually fall down. Does big damage onto Gunkrab. Maybe should have turned around earlier.
Could have looked for that 1-for-1 trade, 1v3. Tally being absolutely picked on right now, ganked time after time. As Order don't really find any sort of punish on the other side. The Waves, Banner of Command, pushing them out bot lane. No real ability to push this blue buffed up Lulu in the mid, so pretty rough so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Sending your questions post-game to us. Hashtag IamOPL on Twitter. Tectonic win. It's going to be Shock we're interviewing if Order somehow pull this back, which at the moment, just maybe send in some Shock questions. It's going to be Swiffer.
It's not undoable, but it's definitely a long way away. As FBI just going to catch this one out. Tectonic once again looking to punish on the top side of the map. Binding lands on Spooks, but with no real damage put around, they do just back away.
Spooks has now got himself some levels. He's level 9. Yep. I'm actually surprised how close in experience he is to Sybil.
Sure.
Potentially now some gold funnily going on the other side of the map as we saw actually Gunkrab grab some creeps away. And what a statement game this would be for Gunkrab to be able to come into the OPL and take down FBI and Rogue.
And he's played incredibly well both games so far, sitting 4-1-0. Obviously, this one yet to be over, but the Lucian performance, it's not just that he came into the OPL, because you see a lot of first-time players. There's a lot of nerves coming into the professional stage. You come in and you play okay. You play fine, don't make big mistakes as two tanks just going to whack away with each other. But he played well and aggressive, and that's very hard to do. I definitely respect players that can play that solo queue aggression style on the competitive stage.
Yeah, absolutely. See FBI one more time going back to base. Tally is just being caught in this farm fest, and he hasn't gone for the Banner of Command, has gone for a Spirit Visage instead. So he's just continually pushed in. Swiffer now finds himself at home in the mid lane. He's probably much happier there.
Yep. All alone, gets to have that solo experience as Rogue with the Moby just going to roam around the map. But this strategy from Order, it relies on the mid priority. You have the Taric, you have the Lulu, 2v1 mid lane, you shove it in, you can influence the side lanes. All of a sudden, that backfires. Shock has been absolutely fine. You've seen that opens up Tectonic to constantly gank Tally in the side lane. They go bot, look for those dives. So Order, they're hanging on, but they're not ahead where they should be.
It's the fact they got the turret so early.
Yep.
Because you can push the lanes further when you have turret. And even though the waves stack up, and they are catching the wave stacks, which is good if you're Order, the fact that they Tectonic are using that time to make plays elsewhere is very impressive.
In saying that, though, that's still a level 13 Tristana with skirmishes.
They grab Tally. They just want to be able to blow him up. Can they get him inside? No, they cannot. And that will be the flash onto Shock. He will get pushed away, however. Swiffer continues the chase. Will get one. Where is the resets coming out? There is a second. Sybil going very low, but the double kill already picked up for Gunkrab.
Does he have a jump?
FBI does not have a jump. Does not want to flash forward and pick up the reset. Instead, they turn around, and now potentially they've caught out Paprise. FBI continuing onto Gunkrab. Does the reset land? Yes, with the red buff. Another shutdown. Will jump away, actually. Stun will land again. And this is FBI now huge for Order.
And they find the fight that they want. All of a sudden, Order was so far behind. Gold lead still heavily in favor of Tectonic. But that's another 3 kills onto the Tristana.
And this is the thing, that it's not really about gold lead. It's about, does FBI get to the point where he can 1v5? Obviously, the comp is built around damage amp, front line, you know, keeping him up. But reality is, does he do enough damage to kill everyone?
And you can see the gravity of that. That fight started off with an Impale onto the Mundo, and Spooks not willing to use his ultimate, not willing to drop the sunglasses onto anyone but FBI. And we're going to see that start here. Tectonic, pretty decisive here. They know they have the Ignite. They know they can burst down the Mundo. Stun comes from Spooks, but ultimately he does drop. But combo onto the Lulu. Swiffer is able to follow a pretty botched Buster shot, honestly, from FBI. But once they get that pick, Paprise behind the rest of the team. This is a 3v3. Paprise cannot get in, and FBI just cleans up.
Yeah, and the fact that FBI was just able to get so many people low, and they didn't want to give him the reset. That's why they're not going back in to try and help with the fight. They just do not want to give him the reset, and he held onto his flash whilst winning the fight.
Yep, that red buff kill, skirmishes.
Swiffer now in some big trouble, however, top lane is going to get predated on. They're going to try and turn this one around. Can he live?
Silence.
No, he cannot get into the pool. And now it is going to be Tally trying to chase 3 members into a turret. And they will continue to look for this one. Rogue is over the back line. FBI already uses the jump. They're looking for Sybil first. The stun will land onto Papyrus. Split focus means that they cannot take them down quickly enough. FBI gets the reset now, however, looking for Papyrus. Mid lane is being pushed for Tectonic, but 2 kills do go down.
They trade the 2 for 1. Swiffer falls. They take 2. That's mid turret as well. Gunkrab.
Do they just go for Baron?
A nice little bit of gold.
They still have the Taric ultimate available. They have Swiffer coming back up. They have so much damage for it.
And there's only one real threat here for Tectonic. They have the tanks. Mundo, very tanky. Gunkrab's going in.
Headbutt pole combo will land. Over the wall goes FBI. He needs to get into the sunglasses, and he will. He takes down Gunkrab. No, one auto attack does not land, and they get everyone out. Somehow Gunkrab lives.
That is best case scenario for Tectonic. They peel order off the Baron. They don't lose their 80 carries life, barely living on the back end.
If he died there, that was nearly game. That was double reset for FBI, because Trans would have also fallen down. One more auto attack.
And this is a complete turnaround. FBI was behind the clock, honestly, almost even with Lulu. All of a sudden, he's got 270 CS out of nowhere, 60 above the clock. Lulu sitting at 180, 7 and 2 for what started as a 0-2-0 scoreline. Order are definitely back in it.
And he's now 2,000 gold lead up over his direct opponent, 3,000 over the mid lane. And you can see that Spooks is 2,000 gold behind, so really that gold lead is more like 1,000 at the moment.
And that gold lead is also over a 6-2 Kai'Sa. It's not like Gunkrab is behind. He's incredibly accelerated.
Tally has no TP, and they're obviously very worried about how long this game is going. No ultimates available, so Order want the fight.
Taric ulti is one of the longest support ultis in the game. That's still on about half cooldown. They have no way to keep FBI alive.
But can they actually do this, Baron, is the question. Papyrus has great secure. Swiffer has the ultimate available. They can get in if they want. Instead, they're going to commit to the Baron. And that's going to be it falling down. Yes, it does. Rogue now on the front of the fight. Sybil, big ultimate out of Swiffer. Gets onto the back line, looks for it, but that's a 3-man knock-up. And Binding lands. FBI is dead. And now that is the rout from Order. Tally will fall down as well. 2 members fall, and Order must scatter.
And they still have a 5,000 gold lead. 2 for 2 trade is the fight, but Gunkrab has both supports available. There's nothing Order can do. They're just going to shove this one in.
And this is a traditional protect the 80 carry comp. So as long as Gunkrab has Trans, has Shock, he can frontline. And still 20 seconds left on the 1 carry of Order.
There's no wave clear. Vladimir, Swiffer knows he can do nothing for this mid lane turret. They're just going to give it. He goes top, deals with the wave, gets a little bit of farm and experience. Breaking the base, maintaining Baron buff on 3 members.
Rogue wants the flank here. You can see he's been polymorphed, however, has ultimate and thinks he can go for it. Blinding lands, however, now they actually put everything into the black shield, and Gunkrab is popping off. Rogue will have to pulve him away. Swiffer is not going to be able to get anything done, and Order just not timing CC.
And a very nice read from Tectonic. They know the death timers have ticked down. They know FBI spawned. They take the inhib, they take the extra kill onto Spooks, and they back away.
Very nicely played. So with Baron buff, with a 6,000 gold lead, now Order kind of back to square one. Let's see it all again.
And I thought this was going to fail. Black Shield onto Gunkrab right now, and Baron isn't even dead. Rogue goes in, slightly mistiming the combo, but all of a sudden, no Taric ulti. FBI sitting at the back, not being able to dish out as much damage as he wants to. Papyrus, huge knock-up in silence just before he dies, and from this point, Gunkrab double support cleans up the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. And without the ultimate available from the Taric, it's just too risky for FBI to be frontlining like that. Still had the flash, but did not use it. And there is still so much standing gold available right now for the Tectonic lineup.
And still, just look at the Taric ulti. Less than half on that cooldown, but still a long way away. This is Baron buff on Tectonic. They have the ability to force. This is going to be a long time before Order can safely try and start a 5v5. Gold lead is approaching 8,000 right now.
Yeah, and Swiffer needs level 16. I mean, this is one of those things. Knock-up misses. However, FBI turns around, nearly gets blown up. He goes to the back, goes. Gunkrab picks up the kill, and this could be it. This is Tectonic for the first time in nearly a year and a half, looking to 2-0 Order.
Gunkrab is absolutely popping off. Dives 1v3 into the backline. The substitute is carrying Tectonic to the win.
Absolutely, they push in. They're going to break the base in the 2nd position, and there is still 30 seconds left. They're looking now at the Nexus turrets. Papyrus is massive in the front line. They give him the shields and he's starting to rip in. Flash forward. They pick up Swiffer. That'll be game. Tectonic now looking for the second Nexus turret. The Nexus is now going to be under fire, and the rookie AD carry steps onto Summoner Rift and knocks down Order.
A Tectonic 2-0 over Order is something I think almost nobody predicted. Gunkrab popping off.
As he should be.
He should be. Incredibly good performance. First game in the OPL. That's nutty.
That's huge. The ability to weather all of the nerves, to play a team comp that revolves around getting your AD carry ahead, especially because Cyclone said we expected them to play standard.
And you want the inside information? I was talking to Gunkrab the other day. We were duo queuing, and he's saying, man, right now, like, I am playing like arse. I'm playing solo queue, I'm inting, I'm feeding. It's miserable. All of a sudden, competitive stage comes into OPL. That was gross.
That was huge.
Yep.
I mean, that's just such a great way to get your first win. Sybil's all smile. Definitely
Everyone's all
the
smiles.
kryptonite of Order has
Yes.
just been able to knock them down every time he's played them, now 3-0. And Tectonic, cannot stress this enough, this is an organization that has been through everything. And now, grabbing their first win in the OPL, I think it's literally like 20 months.
Yep. It's an incredibly long time. I think it's 22 individual series that they've lost.
That is huge.
And Swiffer on your screen now, obviously very disappointed. This is 2 weeks in a row Order coming off a Korean boot camp. Unfortunately, falling down timing again.
Yeah, starting the season 0-2. This is everyone from Order, including myself, said we split one. We hadn't had an off season. We hadn't had a boot camp. We were looking to build into split 2. Now starting 0-2. That is 100% not the opener they are looking for.
And talking about opener, right? You come into the OPL and as a team with a placement as Order, right? Like top 4 team, you're like, okay, we start off against Direwolves. They won the split. They're a very good team. Sure, we dropped the game, but that's close. You come into week number 2, you're like, Tectonic, okay, we have time to bounce back, get our victories, and start progressing through the season. But Tectonic just demolished them. Like 2 games in a row. That was bonkers.
Yeah, that wasn't close. I mean, there was a small comeback mounted, but one team fight around the Baron, a decisive call to just start that up when the ultimates weren't available. And they were able to take over from that point on. And just the confidence to go for the plays, that is what has been missing in Tectonic.
Yes.
They were all on the same page.
And that's the thing. I think last split made a lot of plays that when their backs were finally against the wall, all of a sudden they would pull the trigger on engage, something like that. They would try and make the big play. But this was 2 games in a row where they started things early. First game more so than the second, but they were very aggressive. Gunkrab constantly dashing in on the Lucian. And then the last winning team fight of that game, 1v3 on the Kai'Sa, ulti into multiple members. They have the Lulu, they have the shield from Morgana, and just popping off.
Yeah, absolutely taken over the game. So we are going to now hear from the victorious Tectonic. Shock is sitting alongside with Swiper and Nick.
Shock, mate, congratulations.
Thank you.
The question everyone wants to know, how do you make your Milo? Do you put the Milo in first or do you put the milk in first?
Definitely Milo first.
It's definitely
Thank
Milo
you,
first.
Shock.
My God. Okay,
Thank you, mate.
just get out of the room.
Cheers.
Congratulations on the win. That was amazing. That was thrilling stuff to watch. How do you feel?
I don't know, I feel electric.
What did you have for breakfast, mate? Like,
I had steak for breakfast,
You had
actually.
steak
yeah,
for
maybe
breakfast?
that's it.
You woke up on the right side of the bed
Yeah.
for sure. Bloody hell. So, like, what have you guys done differently to have like such a like? Even last week, you guys looked pretty decent. You had like a bit rough patch, but what's happened?
I think we got a lot better at choosing. I think like our comps got a lot better. I think before we had a lot of like champion pool issues, and so like we would find it really hard to get like 5 people on the same page in the same composition. Whereas I think this split, people have taken a lot more initiative to expand their champion pools, I suppose, and make sure that there aren't really any holes.
Okay. I guess like what else I would ask is Johnny seems like he's doing really well in the drafts. How's he doing? Tell him I miss him, but how's he doing?
Yeah, Johnny's doing good. I think his draft work has gotten a lot better this split as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess like my final question would be like, what do you see your team sort of coming in? Because I know like you guys are getting put like 7 for 8 a lot in everyone's power rankings. Like I made a tweet last week saying that I think you guys could potentially be the dark horse. Like, what is your expectations this split other than first place?
Other than first,
Because that's me.
Yeah. I think the split, we'd really like to make it to playoffs. I think at the moment, the OPL is the most competitive it's ever been, at least that I've seen.
Yep.
So I think it's really up in the air where all the teams pretty much end up. But yeah, we'd really like to make the playoffs.
All right, well, good luck, man.
Thank you.
Hope to see you there.
And how do you feel about the fact that you're still not playing with your locked roster
That's
as
right.
well? You're still playing with sub next week, I think you're
Hopefully,
coming?
yeah.
How are you preparing for that, changing sort of midstream?
I think we've been practicing a lot more around our top side because obviously we're missing our main AD carry, although Guncrab did really well today, but we've been focusing on playing around the players that we do have and building synergy between them. And I think that benefited us a lot in this game.
Well, I'm excited. I feel like you're going from strength to strength then. We are going to be checking out some of the highlights from the last series. We remember as well, we've still got the RR sign, hashtag RR sign competition running for your chance to win 2 tickets to Rift Rivals in July. We will be judging those signs coming up after the break. But first, the highlights from the last game, and then we'll be heading to Avant and Direwolves.
Be the one mistake, has to flash away, and now big damage coming out. First blood picked up the Guncrab. Swiffer's already used his ultimate. Nice knock up there, however, Spook's now going to fall down to Guncrab as well, potentially. Yes, he is. Double kill.
Binding. That
binding lands onto Roki, has no ultimate, will get stunned up. This is going to be another kill picked up. Can they get him inside? No, they cannot, and that will be the flash onto Shock. He will get pushed away, however, Swiffer continues the chase, will get one. Where is the resets coming out? There is a second. Sybil going very low, but the double kill already picked up for Guncrab. Does the reset land? Yes, with the red buff. Another shutdown. Will jump away, actually. Stun will land again, and this is FBI now huge for Order. Sybil, big ultimate out of Swiffer, gets onto the backline, looks for it, but that's a 3-man knockup, and Binding lands. FBI is dead, and now that is the route from Order. Tally will fall down as well. 2 members fall, flash forward, they pick up Swiffer. That'll be game. Tectonic now looking for the second Nexus turret. The Nexus is now going to be under fire, and the rookie AD carry steps onto Summoner Rift and knocks down Order.
Today, I'm going to hit you with a quite subtle but impactful play made by Mammoth in the first game of their Week 1 OPL match versus the Bombers. As spectators, we often take for granted having complete God vision, whereas each team only sees their part of the overall picture. And it's with this in mind that Mammoth make an incredibly creative move based on a mechanic that underpins almost every single decision made in League of Legends: incomplete information. Mammoth are ahead with a 6,000 gold lead at 26 minutes and have just broken the Bombers' inhib in the bottom lane. Sleeping is the only point of pressure Bombers have left in the game, with 2 completed items and a 50 CS lead in the side lane. Zoe and Ezreal opt into a recall, and given that we're on patch 8.11, Ezreal has TP and uses it to immediately return to his teammates Skarner and Rakan, where they continue to siege up mid. Now, if you're a Bomber, despite not having vision of Zoe, being aggressively pushed to your mid lane inhib turret by a team with less than a minute left on Baron, you assume they're continuing the siege. However, that's exactly what Mammoth want them to think, and here lies the secret. With Skarner having flash and Ezreal Rakan having dashes galore, they're more equipped than any to feign a 3 vs 4 push onto the enemy base while still sitting outside of engage range. So, they continue up mid, making sure to apply pressure, but never hard enough to actually be committed to a fight. All of this setup allows Zoe to finish his recall and flank behind a completely unsuspecting Fiora, securing a 1 vs 2 pick for free. All of a sudden, it's 4 vs 5, and the strongest member of Bombers has been dealt with, is on a 50-second death timer, and Mammoth completely retain control of the map. As Remind rejoins the rest of his team, they push for an almost uncontestable second inhib, setting them up for a victorious teamfight and ultimately wins them the game. This is an inconspicuous play with little to no setup time, and makes ending the game for Mammoth incredibly easy. Sometimes, winning isn't about the information you have, it's about the information your opponents think they have, and it's plays like this that led to a 2-0 opening week for Mammoth's brand new roster.